Welcome back to another one of Madman's app dev tutorials. Today we're going to show you how to create a simple music player app. I've got this one right up here with a play button and also a pause button and a stop button and a rewind button. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So we're going to go ahead and open up a blank project and have a look. Okay, so I've got this main.lua file, which is empty, and I've got some buttons, the pause, play, rewind, stop buttons, as well as this loop sound files. Let's go ahead and start by defining our play button. And we'll place it in the middle of the screen. Well, yeah, right in the middle of the screen. Okay, and there it is. And let's go ahead and put the pause button in. Now for the pause button, we're going to put it in the same place as the play button. The idea here is we're going to set the alpha to 0 so that you don't see it initially, but whenever we tap that play button, the alpha for the play button will go to 0 and the pause button will come up to 1. So let's define the pause button. And let's set it here, make sure it's there, good. Now we're going to set the alpha to 0. Alright, so next we need a stop button. Now the stop button is going to be right to the left of the play button. Let's do this. Okay. Oops. Let's see what I've done there. Oh. Display.content center Y, not X. All right, good. Okay. Finally, we want a rewind button. This is optional because the stop button actually rewinds as well, at least the way I write the function. But I will have a separate rewind button as well. Image rewind.png, and we're going to put that one to the left of the play button. And there we go. Now these do nothing as of now because I don't have any functions or event listeners. So we're going to go ahead and write the functions next. Okay, now that we've got our buttons made, we're going to create our sound files. So let's define our sound loop. Audio.loadStream. Now we could use load sound, but this is a long file, and for long files that you might want to loop, you're going to want to use loadStream. And it's best to use WAV files or any kind of uncompressed file rather than highly compressed files like MP3s, because the looping won't actually work very well if it's a really highly compressed file. So I've got a WAV file, so this should work fine. So there should be no change there. Now we're going to go ahead and write a function. The first function is going to be the play audio function. Oops, function. And for that function, we are going to start playing the file. So we'll do audio.play, and we're going to pass it the handle of the file, which is called loop. Okay, and we'll end that function. And let's try playing. Well, we can't play it yet because we haven't assigned an event listener. So let's do that. I'm going to go down to the bottom here of the file because we're going to put more of these functions in here, and we're going to set a listener on the play button. We're going to listen for the tap event, and we are going to invoke the play audio function. Okay, let's save that and let's see if that works. Okay, great. Now obviously nothing else works. So we're going to go ahead and reload that, stop it. Now that we've created a play function, we're going to need a pause function. So let's create this new function called pause audio. And for that, we're going to pass it audio.pause. And that's going to pause all audio. Now, since we're only playing one sound file at any one time, this is sufficient, but you would want to specify the channel that you want to pause if you had multiple streams going on. For us, we only are using one, so we just can pass it no arguments and we're good to go. So let's save that, and let's add an event listener to the pause button. Make it a tap listener. But you'll see I can never actually get to that button because when I press play, the pause button never appears. So we need to do something about that. So in our play audio function, we're going to add a new line where we turn down the alpha on the play button and turn up the alpha on the pause button. All right, let's save that and see what happens. Okay, now our pause button is visible, and we were able to pause it. Clicking on the pause button again does nothing. Clicking on the pause button does nothing because the only thing that function does is pause the audio. So what we need to do now is in our pause audio function, we need to turn down the alpha of the pause button and then bring up the alpha of the play button. All right, so let's try that. Now there we go. Now let's switch back to the play button. Now I should be able to hit the play button again. Okay, so that didn't actually work, and let's see why. Can't play shared stream sample because it's already in use. Now that's an issue that you're going to run into with the audio.loadStream. You can only play one stream on one channel at a time. So we can't actually replay the audio. We have to use a command called resume, audio.resume, to actually resume the audio from where it left off. So in order to do that, we're going to have to add a little bit of logic in play audio. So we're going to go back in here and we're going to check to see if the channel is busy or not. So if the channel is busy, it means either a loop is playing or it's paused. And if it's not busy, then you'll be able to just use the play function. Otherwise, you have to use the resume function. So here's what we're going to do. And here you need to specify the actual channel. Now it's useful here to specify a specific channel. I'm going to specify 2. And in order to do that, I have to specify which channel I want to play it on. So in my audio.play, I'm going to put a parameter in there. And I'm also going to loop it indefinitely. So what I'm doing here in this if statement is I'm checking to see if channel 2 is active or not. And this will return true or false. And if it's true, then I am going to do audio.resume. Else, otherwise, nothing is playing on that channel. We're going to go ahead and affect the alphas on the buttons, and we're just going to start playing the audio from the beginning. So let's see what happens when we do that. Okay, got an error message. Let's take a look. Line 28. I have a problem with equals. I forgot to put in the open-close parens. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this out. We'll go ahead and press play. And now we see our pause buttons replaces the play button. Let's go ahead and press the pause button, and it pauses. So that's exactly what we're looking for. Aha! If I press it again, though, the play button remains. So we need to make another change. And that is, we need to add in active channel. Okay, if channel 2 is active, then we're going to audio resume, but we're also going to set the alpha of the pause button. So we're going to first turn down the play button alpha, or turn up. Turn down here, play button dot alpha equals 0, and then pause button dot alpha equals 1. So basically we're doing the same thing as we're doing as if in the condition that the channel isn't active, and we're just gonna set the alpha of the play button to 0 so it disappears, and the pause button to 1 so it appears. So let's save that one more time. Let's have a look. Okay, there we go. Okay, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Okay, now that pause works, we're going to go ahead and create the stop audio function. The first thing I'm going to do in this function is I'm going to set the pause button alpha to 0, and I'm going to set the play button alpha to 1. And then I'm going to issue an audio rewind method, followed by an audio stop method. Now I want to rewind when I stop, because if I don't do that, then the stop button basically does exactly the same as the pause button, which would be pointless. So I'm going to put the rewind in there. Now notice the position of rewind. It's actually before the audio stop, which is sort of counterintuitive. You would probably expect that it would work the opposite way, but in fact it does not. If you do not put it in this specific order, where you issue the rewind first and then the stop, it doesn't actually rewind, although it does stop the audio. So for the rewind to work, working with loadStream, by the way, it's loadStream that requires this this order. You want to issue rewind first and then the audio stop. Okay, so I've got the function created, so the next thing I'll do is I'll add an event listener to the stop audio button. Make it a tap listener, and we're going to invoke stop audio. Alright, so let's give that a shot. Play it. Pause works. Play it. Okay, let's go ahead and stop. Okay, good. So our play went back, pause went away, play came back, and it seems to have rewound. Let's try it again. Yep. Okay, so stop is working exactly like we expect. Okay, so finally, we're going to create the rewind audio function. Now, the way this button is going to work is as this is playing, as the loop is playing, if I hit the rewind button, it's going to go straight back to the beginning and start playing again. If it's paused and I hit that rewind button, it's going to go back to that beginning part, but it is not going to start playing. So let's go ahead and get that function written. So local function rewind audio. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to check to see if the audio is actually in a playing mode. So if the play button is visible, we're going to assume then that nothing is playing. So I'm going to do a check here. If play button dot alpha is equal to 1, then we're just going to issue an audio.rewind and an audio.stop command. Otherwise, we are going to do an audio rewind, audio stop, and then an audio play. We're going to play it on channel 2 just as we had before. And that if then conditional and then end the function. So we'll save it. No news is good news. Let's go ahead and add our event listener. Save it. All right, let's try it out. Play it. I'm going to pause it. Let's rewind. Let's try again. Okay, rewound it. Great. So it worked exactly like the stop button in this case. But let's see what happens when you push it while the audio is playing. It goes right back to the beginning. It starts playing. That's exactly what we want. Let's double check. Let's press the stop button. Now that would rewind it. So pushing rewind is actually pointless to do, but we want to make sure that if we do that, nothing weird happens. And it starts playing from the beginning. So we're good to go. So the final thing I think we can do here is add some kind of status text to each of these modes. So when we're playing audio, we want to see some text appear up here. So let's go into our play audio function, and before we even check whether a channel is active or not, because whether the channel is active or not is irrelevant. If we mash the play button, we want this status message to appear. So let's create the status message first. We're going to create a thing, display a text object. We're going to create a text object called play text equals display new text playing. Put it in the center and maybe slightly above those buttons. Maybe 4. Let's take a look and see whether that will work. I don't care about the font right now, and make it 20. I make it 30. Let's see what it looks like. Okay. A little bit small. So let's make it a little bigger. Let's say 50. How about 60? Okay, I like that. Let's change the color of the play text. I'm going to make it blue. I'm going to make it like a light blue, though, not really dark blue. So let's try that. Okay, good. And I don't want that displaying unless the play button's been pressed, so we're going to go ahead and set the alpha state to 0. All right. Good. So we know we're going to need a paused button text too, so let's go ahead and create that. I think I'm going to cheat here, and I'm just going to copy this block of code and save myself a few keystrokes. Pause text equals paused, and it's going to be in the same place, and we'll also set that alpha to 0. For paused, we're going to make that green. Yeah. Okay. And of course this has to be pause text. Like that. Good. All right. So we have two text objects that are invisible until we make them visible in our functions. So in play audio, if we hit the play button, we want the word playing to appear. And we want the word paused, if it is displaying, to disappear. So let's go ahead and we're going to set playtext.alpha to 1. And we're going to make sure that pause text.alpha is set to 0. Now, the first time you actually run this, this line wouldn't be necessary, but since you will be pausing and playing and pausing and playing, that pause text will be there. The alpha will be set to 1 at some time, so you're going to want to make sure it's always set to 0 when you press the play button. So, so yes, that's good. So the next thing is for the pause audio function, when we hit the pause button, we want the paused message to appear. So let's go ahead and set the play text.alpha to 0 and set the pause text.alpha to 1. Okay. Now with stop, when we press the stop button, we don't want any status text to appear at all. So what we're going to do is turn them both off. Oops. And then finally with the rewind. Now this one's a little tricky because if audio is not playing, we don't want to see status text. So in this case, the play button alpha equaling to 1 would mean that audio is not playing. So here is where we're going to turn off the alphas on both objects. Otherwise, leave them as they are because they're playing those alphas, whichever one the playing alpha should be set to 1. So let's save it. Let's see how it works. Okay, good. Playing works. Let's pause. Good. Play again. Good. Pause. Stop. Good. Play again. Stop. Playing. Let's rewind. Okay. See how playing continues to show up because it rewound and started playing from the beginning. Now let's pause it and now rewind and it goes away. And we play from the beginning. So that's working exactly how I'd hoped it would. So that's a very simple sound player. You could do some more fancy stuff with it, like add a little bit more animation to the buttons and which I'll actually show you in another tutorial. You can also add a track list if you want and choose from different tracks and load those and play. But just for now, this should get you started with using sounds in Corona SDK. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and please check out some of my other tutorials on Madman's App Dev channel. Thanks for watching.